Welcome back, everyone. This is Chesh, and this is a new deck for Intet the Dreamer. This deck is something I've been working on for a couple of weeks now. I've played it on a couple of Command of the Distance, and I really do dig it. It needs a little bit more work to be a bit more consistent, but it's getting there. But let's go through this legendary creature dragon. So, for 3 colors, a blue, a red, and a green, we get a 6/6 flyer. And whenever Intet the Dreamer deals combat damage to a player, you may pay 1 blue and 2 colors. If you do, exile the top card of your library face down. You can look at that card for as long as it remains exiled. You may play that card without paying its mana cost as long as Intet remains on the battlefield. So there's 2 things here. The first one is Intet costs you 6 mana. That's pretty big, I'm not going to lie. Okay? And that's fine. How much value are you going to get? Well, I mean, possibly a lot of value if you decide to, run stuff like, extra turns or extra combat steps. There's a lot of ways that you can actually abuse Intet. First thing you need to do, though, is you need to equip a good old Lightning Greaves so that it has haste and shroud, so that, direct removal isn't going to work too well on it, and that it can attack straight away if you have the mana to activate. Even if you don't, you can get commander damage in, that's fine. To make it unblockable, we do have a copy of Key to the City just in case, just so that we can keep Intet doing its thing and smacking the opponents as much as humanly possible. We also want to make sure that we can manipulate the top of our deck. So of course we have Sensei's Divining Top. So this one generic mana artifact has look at the top 3 cards of your library, put them back in any order. Fantastic. Tap it and draw a card, then put Sensei's Divining Top on top of its owner's library. So it helps us clear out cards if we really need to, but more often than not, you're hopefully only paying 1 and getting one of your extra turn cards onto the top of your library so Intet can cast it for free. Crystal Ball, of course, 1 to tap to scry to is fantastic. It's just an awesome, awesome artifact. We have a Preordain, we scry to and we draw a card. We have a Brainstorm, draw 3 cards, put 2 cards from your hand on top of your library in any order. So if you have the taking turn cards in your hand, slap them back on top of your deck, and she'll be right, mate, she'll be right. We of course have a copy of Ponder. Look at the top 3 cards of your library, then put them back in any order. You can shuffle your library and then draw a card. We have a copy of Jace the Mind Sculptor. I know it's expensive, I get it. This is not a must-have, this is not a must-run. I'm running it because a dear friend of mine, Dakota, bought it for me for Christmas. And so, of course, I'm going to use it in every deck that has blue because, oh my god, I finally own a Jace the Mind Sculptor. We also have a Nissa. Nissa's a bit more unique because of the scry in this deck. We don't really care about the other abilities that we can use if we need to. But Nissa can also help you by the -6, untapping up to 2 land cards, and then making them into 5/5 elemental creatures with flying and haste. You can actually kill people with Nissa on extra turns, and I'll show you why in just a secondi. I'm such a dick. Secondi. How cool am I? What a banger, mate. So we've got a Khan's Temporal Sundering, because look, we're always going to have a legendary creature out pretty much, right? Yeah? So, target player takes an extra turn after this one. It's going to be you. Return up to 1 target non-land permanent to its owner's hand and exile Khan's Temporal Sundering. On the cheap side of this, we also have a Part the Water Veil. I have managed to just cast this for Awaken just to kill somebody in the last turns of the game because I'd already wiped out 2 opponents. So that was amazing. We have, of course, a Miracle card, which is Temporal Mastery, just in case. So we can either cast it for its Miracle cost if we're lucky, or we can just cast it with Intet, or hard cast it if we need to. We got enough scry and enough put it back on top that we should be able to Miracle it out if we need to. Nexus of Fate, everyone's favorite, not favorite, take an extra turn card because, let's face it, it's Nexus of Fate and it shuffles in and we can keep doing it over and over. Beacon of Tomorrows as well, because it also shuffles into our deck. We can take an extra turn. Expropriate. I know, I'm sorry. I know this deck's a bit more expensive than my usual decks. But again, Expropriate was given to me by none other than my good friend Dakota. So when I get given a cool card from cool friends, I'm absolutely going to use them all the time. So she is wonderful. We of course also have a Temporal Trespass because, I mean, at the very worst, you delve it. Am I right? Am I right? Yeah, I'm right. So we've got all these extra turns. How are we actually going to kill our opponents? Well, I'm really happy you asked because we got multiple ways. The first one is with a Hellkite Charger and obviously other big creatures, but this is the big thing. Hellkite Charger is flying haste for 4 colors and 2 red. When Hellkite Charger attacks, you may pay 5 colors and 2 red. And if you do, untap all attacking creatures, and after this phase, there's an additional combat phase. Stacking this with extra turns is bonkers. It is so good. Especially when you're tapping down all of your opponent's flyers with a Thundermaw Hellkite, right? I mean, let's face it, being able to tap down all flyers and then smack somebody in the face, untapping, smacking somebody in the face again, and you're also getting double Intet triggers because when it's dealing combat damage, you're able to activate the ability again, just like you do in your extra turns, and then your opponents are all looking at you like, you're crazy, and you're like, I'm not crazy, I'm an absolutely normally adjusted person who wants to smack you in the face multiple turns, and there's nothing you can do about it. Speaking of, we also have Atali Primal Storm, 4 colors and 2 red for a legendary creature, Elder Dino. Whenever Atali Primal Storm attacks, exile the top card of each player's library. You may cast any number of non-land cards exiled this way without paying the mana costs. It just screams I want to steal your stuff. I also kind of want to break your stuff, so we're of course playing big expensive Tyrant of Discord. When Tyrant of Discord enters the battlefield, target opponent chooses a permanent they control at random and then sacrifices it. If a non-land permanent was sacrificed this way, repeat the process over and over and over and over and over again. Torrential Gearhulk, of course. Flash, when Torrential Gearhulk enters the battlefield, you may cast target instant card from your graveyard without paying its mana cost. If that card would be put into a graveyard, exile it instead on this turn. Inferno Titan, because of course I would. Inferno Titan is 4 colors and 2 red. For pumping red through it, it gets +1/+1 until the end of turn. You can do it as many times as you have red mana. Whenever Inferno Titan enters the battlefield or attacks, it deals 3 damage divided as you choose among 1, 2, or 3 targets. So you can just dome somebody for 3 and then smack them in the face for 6 for a total of 9 from your Titan. If you want to steal all of your opponent's stuff, because there's always one player at your board who is playing artifacts, Hellkite Tyrant will steal all of that stuff from your opponent. And then if you control 20 or more artifacts, you win the game. So, I mean, it's whenever it deals combat damage, right? So you can probably just steal off multiple opponents and try and win the game because you're next to upkeep, which means you're probably in extra turns anyway, which means, hey suckers, play all your artifacts, that's fine. Am I going to steal them? Am I going to win? As the what is it, a coup de grace? No? I don't know my French. Just because I want to kill everyone, I'm going to play Chandra's Ignition, because this is actually a really cool finisher as well. 3 colors and 2 red for a sorcery. Target creature you control deals damage equal to its power to each other creature and each opponent. Slap it on a big creature, 6 the board, who cares? Kill all your opponents in one turn. That is Intet the Dreamer. Don't forget to check out Josh and Pat's Anti-G Bazaar if you're in Malaysia, Australia, or New Zealand, because they're our coolest sponsor and we've got some giveaways and stuff coming up from them. And also, I always have to say this, like, comment, subscribe. You sharing these videos helps us immensely to get the word out of what we're doing. Command of the Distancing, every Saturday. Check my Twitter, @Cheshire Players, to know what the hell's going on. We have a sponsored stream coming up from Wizards as well, which should be coming up hopefully after this video comes out. Might be before, I hope not. And that will be with Sheldon Mannery and Gavin Verhey. So I'm really excited on that. We got some big things coming. We got some cool giveaways coming. Chill, peace out, have fun, and I'll talk to you all soon.